Let's go.
It's stressing me out.
Amazing. I hate these. Oh, I hate these.
Sometimes it just gets to be too many damn letters. You know what I'm saying? Like, seriously, like, it just, you're adding letters on. So, like, sometimes I appreciate it, and then other times I'm like, it's too many damn letters.
So my name is Ariel. My pronouns are she, her, hers.
Oh, she.
And
Fuck me.
I am going to be moderating the panel.
She
Now,
got cake. Is that Blair White?
Did you not know?
Blair White wearing those fucking knee-high boots. Jesus.
Yeah, did you not know?
No?
Yeah.
Fuck me. All right.
I just want
Let me know how the audio balancing is.
to call something out right away, which is that we tried our best to have as many people from varied backgrounds and varied identities represented here, but of course it is impossible for us to represent every single facet of the LGBTQ community. So we know that, and we just want to call that out. So the first thing I want to ask is, raise your hand if you identify as a member of the LGBTQ community.
Hey! They don't have any fucking straight cis people here? What kind of diversity is this?
All right. Can I have everybody go around and just tell me their names and how they identify?
Sure. Well, my name is Donnie,
Oh no. Why is the audio desynced?
and I use he, him pronouns, and
What,
I
is it not?
identify as a transgender,
It's not,
pansexual, or bisexual man.
My name is Blair. I'm transgender and I'm a Republican.
Okay.
My name is Caleb. I use he, she, and they pronouns, and I identify as a non-binary queer.
I'm Raquel Willis, pronouns she, her, hers. I identify as a Black, queer, transgender woman.
My name's Sarah Longwell, and I identify as a lesbian.
My name is Jamie. I use they, them pronouns. I identify as a queer, non-binary trans femme. I also identify in the A spectrum of asexuality.
I'm Benji. I'm a guy, and I... I'm an American.
My name is Paul.
We gotta watch out for that guy. That guy is going places.
I identify as a gay American male.
My name's Zachary Zane. I use he, him pronouns, and I identify as bisexual and queer.
I'm Brandon Strock, and I'm a gay man.
David Valbranch, he, him, his. I identify as a cis, same-gender loving man.
All right, my name is Lucy. I'm a lesbian.
Okay. So it's Pride Month. Who here thinks that Pride is still relevant? Is it still relevant? Is it useful? Is it important?
Yeah, I think it's more so relevant for people in other countries in which being gay is illegalized and you can face jail time or worse, death for being gay. And I think here it's more of a party, which is fine. I'm not against parties, but I think it's especially important for people living in other countries.
That answer could have been a lot worse.
Zachary, your brow is very furrowed.
Yeah, I don't think we should underestimate the power it has to have certain young queer people just to see other people be visible, to be welcome and part of a community. Maybe not necessarily as important in cities like New York, where I feel very comfortable expressing my queerness, but especially in other places across America where they don't have that large of a queer community, where being queer isn't as visible. I think it's really important to still have pride for those people.
And I also think it's important because
I should probably put my opinions forth, right? Wait, I'm queer. Yeah, I'm here. I'm queer. I got opinions. I got hot fire to spit.
Don't.
But it's like fire. So, I mean, I'm pan. I don't care. Okay, so I don't care about identity politics like at all. I don't give a fuck. I will never like introduce myself as like a white or like a man or like a pan these things aren't, I don't think they're like relevant to my identity, you know? But I do support Pride. I mean, obviously, you would know if I didn't, right? My issue here is that I want to live in a world where people's identities are not an important part of who they are, okay? Like their demographic identity, like who they like to fuck, what their gender is, what their race is. My ideal is to live in a world where these things aren't important, where politics aren't oriented around them. And a lot of people on the right pretend to agree with me. The problem is they do practice those identity politics. They just lie about it. They'll say, I don't support affirmative action, identity politics. We should all be doing our best out here, you know? Why? Like meritocracy. But then they'll consistently support policies that defend the entrenched interests of white people. There'll be people like, yeah, whatever, get it. Gay people can marry now. We cool. Yeah, whatever. Fucking, I don't care. Pride? What? Yeah, it's legal here. What are you proud about, you know? And then they'll go on to talk about how they need to have a straight pride and how gay people need to stop shoving shit down their throats by being an extra in a TV show. What the thing is, a lot of people who say they're against identity politics are liars. What they actually are is against identity politics for marginalized groups and in favor of identity politics, which support the power structures that they benefit from. So I don't like people like identifying themselves predominantly on their demographic characteristics. Like, I'm a trans, gay, femme, queer, POC, liberal, two-spirit. I don't care. And it frustrates me when I see these in Twitter bios. Because I don't think it solves anything. That's my contention. But if I had to choose a world in which you fucks are super annoying about your like identities, and a world in which you're not allowed to do that, and the fucking right-leaning people have their way, I would choose the annoying world with the people whose Twitter bios is 280 characters of just demographic nonsense. Any day of the week, easy peasy, easiest choice of my life. And I am in favor of Pride. Not because I want gay people or trans people or whatever to like be able to rep themselves in that way into perpetuity, but because as of right now, it's a show of strength and visibility that is necessary in this political climate. And one day, I hope to live in a United States of America where so well integrated are people of gender and sexual minorities that they no longer need a pride, not because they just don't care anymore, but because it is wholly unnecessary. That's the goal. So, when I defend Pride, I'm not defending Pride as like this existential, all people of marginalized communities must rep themselves as such until the end of time perspective. I'm doing so from a right now, we live in a very identity politics driven society, and most of it is weighed against marginalized people. And I'll support any efforts, whether they be rooted in identity politics or not, to destroying that inequality. Okay, I've rambled enough. I'm sorry. Can we...
In this day and age, we've had, about 5 black transgender women be murdered in the past couple months. And so we do need to actually have 11. Those visible... 11, yeah. So it's even more than that. So it's one of those things where if we don't have these images out there, we don't have these options for people to realize and understand that they're not alone, then all they see are these traumatic experiences and all the discrimination and oppression that is still happening in this country. It's not just in other countries.
I'm going to just claim the mantle as the senior spokesman of the group. But I went to my first gay bar in 1977 in West Hollywood. There were actually bars and restaurants on Santa Monica Boulevard that had signs in front that said, "No faggots allowed." It was a very different place.
Whoa! I didn't know this was a gamer word stream. I'm getting one out of the way. Faggot! Yeah, that felt good. All right, I've gotten it out of my system.
Nice. I think Pride
Boomer Joe up here, fucking flexing on these kids.
today should really embrace the changes that we've made over these decades, because we've made it a more inclusive society to the point where I think we're one of the most protected groups, I know from an employment standard in history. So I'd like to see Pride really take on a different sort of approach and celebrate what we've overcome.
So he just said gay people are now one of the most one of the most protected minority groups, at least in regards to employment. No. In addition to the fact that there are still plenty of states in which you can be legally fired for that. In addition, the most you can say about the protections that have been afforded to gay people in an employment sense is that they've been made a member of a protected class, which puts them in line with the same protections that you would get if you were straight. That's it. Yeah, half of states allow employers to fire people for being gay. You know, when people say, like, protected class, you do know straight people are also in a protected class. Like, for if you were a straight guy working in like a super queer business and they were like making fun of you for that, you could sue them for the exact same grounds that a gay person could if they were discriminated against in like a conservative business. So the idea that gay people are overprotected in regards to their employment is laughably untrue, even if it weren't for the fact that in half of the states of the union, they can be fired for being gay.
In your opinion, do you think that we're done working on equality within the LGBTQ community? Is there still a fight to fight?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm from a small town in Texas, and where I'm from, people do not accept me being gay, me being queer, me being gender expansive or anything. And I was raised 2 hours away from where Malaysia, which black trans woman in Dallas, Texas.
This person whose pronouns I don't remember looks so much like they're from The Matrix, and I respect the hell out of that. The teeny tiny glasses and the little... I want to describe the hair, but I know that if I do, I'm going to get called racist. The little hair nubbins? I don't know. It looks pretty fucking rad.
Was killed. So I don't think that the equality that, you know, we want to see, the equality that we should see is actually happening in America now.
I'm sorry, could I ask a question? Because I think this is really important and relevant. I feel like the majority of people who feel like they're still struggling with lack of equality are people who are identifying as queer. I don't identify as queer. That does not define me. That's not a word I want to be called as a gay man. So what I'd like to know is, what is the definition of queer? For the people who identify as queer, what does that mean?
Okay, I can answer this because this has an answer. Queer was used as an okay, so as a term, queer just means odd. Oh wait, anarcho-foxism is throwing a fit. Anarcho-foxism, I never said having an identity or being like open with your identity is idpol. I'm saying that presenting yourself predominantly as members of these demographics and orienting your political alignment around those demographic identities is by definition idpol. That is by definition idpol. You can argue that it's like good idpol, and I can get behind that, but it is idpol. Whatever the case is, queer has for the longest time meant like just weird or odd or off, and it has a mild negative connotation. Then, a couple decades ago, not a couple, more like fucking 50 or 60 or 70 years ago, queer started being used as a broad pejorative to refer to like fairies, you know, like effeminate guys who were gay, or who were assumed to be gay, or who had gayish tendencies, or who were maybe straight, but maybe they just acted off, you know? And then, over the past 20 or so years, queer, as a term, has been more or less reclaimed, at least in the more progressive areas of society, by progressives. And queer now generally just means gender or sexual minority. That's it. Pretty much. It's pretty much that. GSM. Anything other than a straight cis person fits underneath this purview. That simple.
Always known as a
He's
slur.
the moderator, right?
No, I just don't know how to have the discussion if we don't establish that. Like,
That's a good conversation. That's a good point. Who here identifies as queer? Raise your hand. Okay. For the people who didn't raise their hands, why? What are your thoughts and feelings on the word queer?
We were talking before.
So I don't buy this shit. this like I don't identify as queer. I don't like this, okay? Queer is still a slur, has to be used. Yeah, there are still some parts of the country where queer is used pretty exclusively as a pejorative. In this environment, at least in online politics, it's generally used positively. But this, I don't buy this I identify as shit. When they say I identify as a woman, that means like you're a woman. If you identify as a woman, you are by definition a woman. Queer has a definition. If you are gay, if you are trans, you are queer under the nomenclature as it has been reclaimed by progressives. You are. You don't identify as or as not queer. You just are. I don't like this conservative snowflakery. You got the same thing back in the Hispanic video, you know? I don't identify as a Latinx person. I identify as an American. I don't fucking care. You are a Latinx person. It's just funny how they talk like, oh, the left wants to destroy language, men can be women, and then they unironically try and go, like flip it around and go like, yeah, I don't actually identify as these things because it makes me sound snowflakey. That fucking gay guy we turned into an emote in chat, the one who was on Dave Rubin, that guy was like, yeah, I don't identify as LGBT. I'm a gay man. Sorry, snowflake. LGBT got G in it. I'm sorry that hurts your feelings. Yeah, that fucking guy that just got eight comboed.
When we said like queer was supposed to be like a put down or a diss, you know what I mean? I look at it myself, it's a regular red-blooded American gay guy. I don't really see why I have to be all these other letters and all this other stuff added to it. I mean, no offense to anyone, but it sounds a little bit nuts to me. I don't understand why we have to be all this other stuff. Like, why can't I just be gay and be happy with that? Or why do I have to look at, if I'm not, queer or binary, whatever, then I'm like privileged in some way. And it's like, I'm from the hood just like anybody else. Where's all this privilege I'm supposed to have coming from?
What the fuck is he talking about? If he's gay, but if he doesn't identify as queer, then he has privilege, but he's from the hood, so he doesn't? Jesus Christ. If there's one thing I could do, I would with a lobotomy, I would lobotomize every conservative and just dump some intersectionality juice into their brain so they can understand. This is so fucking simple. Paint stream! Except instead of Paint, it's actually Clip Studio Paint, a superior program that I paid money for. Listen, it's super easy. Watch, okay? Look. Here's gay. G. Gay. Gay. And then here's LGBT. Wow. See? You're gay and you're LGBT. It's almost like words can have overlapping definitions. And then, arguably, is that how you spell queer? Yeah, it is. Okay, cool. There! We did it! Guys, we did it! We solved the fucking conundrum. If you are this, you are, by definition, these things too. I don't care for this snowflakery, this conservative bitch babiness. I'm sorry you don't like these words. They still apply to you.
I don't have it.
I didn't understand
it really
half the
is.
thing.
And then wait, what did he say about being privileged? Because he didn't we all have privilege in some respects, and we have disadvantage in other respects.
And I'm gay, it's hard to keep up.
I think that my issue is not what you identify as, it's when you try to tell me what I...
Okay, anarcho-foxism, your tactic of getting a message across by spamming something is getting really irritating. LGBT is not queer, it is assimilation. LGBT is not queer, shut the fuck up? What the fuck are you even saying?
should identify as, and if I say that I'm queer, non-binary, or if I say I'm a shoe, that's my business. And I don't think that...
Who's telling you what to identify as?
I'm just responding. What I'm saying is that people who say that queer is what you said offensive, my thing is like, why does it matter what I identify as? It's my identity.
You're claiming it's the source of your oppression.
Fuck me. What's going on?
Who say that queer is what you said offensive. My thing is like, why does it matter what I identify as? It's my identity.
You're claiming it's the source of your oppression. So since it's the source of your oppression, what is it?
What I said.
Sorry, what do you mean by that, Brendan? I think you should expand on it a little
Well,
bit.
I'm noticing that the people who say that they're still victimized and oppressed here in this country are the people who are identifying as queer, non-binary, gender fluid, all these different things. What is it? What does queer mean? So in order for me to support you or not support you, I need to understand you.
Have you read up on the word queer? Have you Googled
Yeah, is this guy just mad he doesn't know definitions of words?
it?
Yeah, have you?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
Thank God. Thank fucking God. The last bitch from Vice was just let them go off in this. Is have you looked it up?
Have you read up on the word queer? Have you Googled it?
Yeah, have you?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
He was about to ask, have you looked it up? When you go to a movie theater and you're at the fucking ticket desk and they're like, enjoy your movie. And you're like, you too. And then you run into the bathroom to cry. That's what this guy nearly did.
The definition in the dictionary is a whole laundry list of derogatory terms, which I think are apt. I think it's an insult. I think it's a slur. I think it's low rent. I think it's embarrassing. I think it's degrading. I think it's demeaning.
Okay.
Yeah.
We get it.
It means weird in the dictionary, and if we're trying to get to a place where we normalize our community, I don't think labeling us as weird is really the right way to do it.
So if their problems here are just we don't like reclaiming the term queer, I don't know what to say. This process is going to happen whether or not you like it. The reclamation of terms is an objective good for your community.
That's why you're not accepted.
I'm sorry.
Perhaps that's why you're not accepted.
Brendan wants to know, how do you define the term queer? Now, from what I understand, different people view the word differently. But is there somebody here who would like to volunteer some kind of definition?
I would love to share. I think the term queer, you have the right to feel that it is offensive because that's a fact. We know that it was used offensively as a slur for decades, forever, and probably in still some circumstances today. But people reclaimed it as a word that was more expansive of their experiences, right? So for a lot of people, gay doesn't fit. For a lot of people, lesbian doesn't fit. These terms were a little bit restrictive when it came to them talking about their identity, who they were attracted to, what they were into, all of that. And also from a gender standpoint, right? There are a lot of people who don't fit into what we consider a binary, right? This man, woman kind of idea, right? So queer is an umbrella term. It is expansive.
I still don't understand really. It's supposed to be.
First of all, powerful hair, powerful opinions. Good. Why is reclaiming terms good? Not terribly well read in a lot of these topics outside of your videos, lol. Reclaiming terms is good because it's a show of power. It's the same reason why people will argue that black people using the N-word flippantly can sometimes be it's a way of showing that a word doesn't hurt you or affect you, and it can be a way of taking space back from bigots. Ideally, we would live in a world where there are no slurs because there's no negative connotations surrounding people's demographic status to back up the power of those words. Anyway, kind of like reclaiming Pepe? Yes, like reclaiming Pepe. Anyway, Blair White, I've talked to you before, albeit very briefly. I know you know what queer means. If you don't like the idea of queer being reclaimed, just say, I don't like how it's being reclaimed, or I don't think it's been reclaimed hard enough. Don't pretend to not know what it means. I know you know what it means.
Be this an umbrella term,
who's not free?
But then when it becomes everything, then it's kind of nothing at the same time.
No, because queer doesn't refer to fucking straight cis people.
I still don't have a clear definition
Yeah,
of
you
what
defined what it's
means.
not, but you still haven't defined what it is.
And then
Donnie, you seem to have some thoughts on this.
Sure. So when I think of the term queer, I tend to think of somebody who is either not cisgender or not heterosexual. That's my impression of what queer is.
Which is already in the
right.
You can be those things also, but see,
what's the difference?
Well, let me explain, and I'll.
They're literally triggered by the existence of two words that mean kind of the same thing. Means a gender or sexual minority. Oh, you mean LGBTQIA+? Well, why would you have a word like queer to define gender? They're actually fucking mad that there are multiple definitions or multiple words that cover the same definition. Fuck. calm. Jesus.
I'll see what I can do for you. So for my experience as previously a lesbian woman, before I came out as a transgender man, I used the word gay, I used the word lesbian, I used the word woman to describe me before I realized that that wasn't actually accurate. Now I am a transgender man who is married to a cisgender woman, so people would say I'm a straight man, but I'm not straight because I lived as a lesbian for 20 years before I came out as transgender. Also, I like people of all genders, so what the heck do I have to call myself now? Do I call myself a former lesbian, bisexual / pansexual, transgender man in order to not use the—
Look at that. Look at this dude. Look at his fucking eyebrow. Look at how hard he's cocking it.
the word queer? Absolutely not. It's
Do
one
you feel like
syllable.
when you use the word queer, people know that you are all of those things, that suddenly it becomes crystal clear
I
to
think
people?
what's more important to people is that they know what I'm not. And they know that I'm not a cisgender heterosexual.
I want to sort of expand this conversation a little bit.
That was a good ass answer.
More. Do you feel represented by the acronym LGBTQIA+? If you
No.
No. That's too many letters. That's scary, and I don't get it.
Raise your hand if you do.
Oh.
If you feel represented by the acronym LGBTQIA+.
In some ways.
Okay,
Maybe.
all right. Yeah.
Just on the simple, basic level of like, there's a T in it, and I match that, but that's a superficial sort of thing. There's
Okay.
much more to me and everyone here, I think.
Exactly.
I think there's an irony because I'm hearing the people who seem very more opposed to queer are also the same people who are opposed to having all the additional letters in the alphabet.
100%.
And since queer, then this goes back to Donnie. Since queer is being more inclusive of those other letters in the alphabet, I don't necessarily love all the letters in the alphabet. That's why I like the word queer. So I can have this one word that is more inclusive of everything.
Yeah, queer and GSM. I agree. The LGBTQIA+. You could argue like LGBT plus covers everything, right? But Q is in there for queer, and then you have I for intersex, and intersex isn't a sexuality or a gender, and then you have A for asexual, and some people say it's ally, but that's wrong. That's never been true. It's not ally. But then you have the plus too. It's kind of dumb. Gender sexual minority is the terminology that I saw used pretty frequently in academia. I don't know why the fuck that, I don't know where that term at, but queer and GSM mean basically the same thing. And that guy, right? Fuck me. Just made a good point. The same people who don't like the term queer because of its broadness also don't like the inclusion of additional letters. Queer people who are conservative are only like accepting of the demographic they're a part of. And like everything more socially acceptable than that, you know? So Blair White, who is trans and a conservative, will stand for herself and for gay and lesbian people, or at least the validity of their existence, but non-binary people, and you get this problem pretty consistently. Gay conservatives will rep gay issues, but they'll still think lesbians are gross and trans people are mentally ill. You get this, it's like the everything to the right of me is fine and everything just a little bit more progressive. That's where the degeneracy begins. This argument against like queerness as a term or a concept is really, really fucking stupid, and is intellectually unsupportable.
So I feel like you either can't
Which
necessarily
still
be
remains to be defined.
Yeah,
no one can define the word.
I thought I did.
The word has been defined multiple times in this conversation.
It really didn't.
So
It is
but
the
an easy
absence of
definition
cisgender.
would be
that is
anybody
the
who's a
T.
gender or
That is the
sexual
T.
minority,
To say
right?
Say again?
Gender and sexual minority. Yes.
Anybody who's a minority based on their gender or sexual.
Sorry. Ooh. I thought my third eye wasn't working for a little while.
Right?
But that already is covered in LGBT. What
yes.
happens is when you add all these letters, it dilutes the message of LGBT in the
No, wait, no, there's no message. It's just a descriptor that's supposed to include people with GSM.
original fight that we're all talking about, and it makes it harder for people that were actually fighting for
Are
their
there some
acceptance
people
to
who
understand.
appreciate having LGBTQIA+ be a thing that exists? Do they feel like it helps them be seen or their friends be seen? Anybody here at all?
Okay.
Sometimes it just gets to be too many damn letters.
It's a lot.
You know what I'm saying?
It's a lot.
Like, seriously, like, it's just you adding letters on. So, like, sometimes I appreciate it, and then other times I'm like, it's too many damn letters. Like,
So far the criticisms here are, it hasn't been explained to me when it was explained to him twice, and then someone else gave another definition, and then they said that gender and sexual minority means basically the same thing as LGBT, except it clearly by definition doesn't. But queer is bad because it's an umbrella term, but it's also bad because it's an insult, but we're not really using that in that context here. But GSM is still bad because it includes too many things, and LGBT has to have the fewer, you see, it's like a spring, okay? LGBT, the acronym, the more closely you compress it, the fewer letters there are, the more energy there is compacted into the spring. But when you let it out like that and let it turn into LGBTQIA+, then it loses power. I think that's Blair's argument here.
Which is why queer is good, because then you
which is why
incorporate.
queer, I think, is a good option. And if someone says, I use queer because I don't want to use all the, and I don't actually fit under all those letters, then to me it's a good option.
We're technically LGBTQIAAP2+.
See, that's
We
too
are
much.
not.
It's
We are not. See, they don't like those terms either. So what if we consolidate them into a blanket term that refers to all people who share an intersectional axis of oppression based on their gender or sexual identification?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
what's the P for? Pedophilia. No, it's for pan. It's for pansexual.
that's the full acronym. So like to say like, no, I'm supporting you in this and say,
Because you know our libcuck agenda, right? First we normalize the gay and the lesbians, then the trans, then the kid trans, and then pedophilia comes next, and then zoophilia. We're working on it, right? I read the pull threads. We're all trying to get pedophilia legalized.
saying like, yes, this is a lot, and I do understand that.
Benji?
And I for certain definitely don't feel represented by it because I'm Republican, conservative, Trump person. So all that stuff I already see is just not for me. I'm not invited to barbecue. I'm not invited to the ball. I'd rather have $25 drinks at Trump DC anyway. What I'm saying is that
what is he saying?
Whole thing, I feel like when you're a conservative, none of that it affects me at all. I just look at myself as an individual. I mean, I'm a gay man, I'm open, I'm proud, I've never been, in the closet every day in my life. But I just feel like when you put all those letters and all those constraints and all these professors are telling you have to think like this and do this and be that.
No professor is telling you to think like anything or be this or be that. I have no idea what the fuck he's talking about. It's like, is conservatism like a gypsy curse that forces you to speak only in generalities? Because this guy is not making any fucking points. Wait, he doesn't feel like he identifies with the LGBT thing because he supports Trump? I guess it's nice of him to admit that like supporting conservative policy is antithetical to supporting the rights of queer people. And then he says he'd rather have $25 to go to a DC Trump bar. And now he's just like talking about how professors have told him to be things. I have no fucking idea what this guy is going on about. I'm astounded he found out how to put on a suit.
That it doesn't represent just a regular guy trying to live his life like me. I don't feel represented by rainbow flag, any of it. I feel like back in the day I did, but I feel like now that everything's so politicized that there's really no room for anyone who's conservative and gay. Like even for like.
Yeah, no, there isn't. No, this is. God, man, these guys are such useful idiots. I'm not queer. I'm just a normal guy. Well, my good friend, my comrade, that's exactly what they would say about you. They would say, I'm not gay. I'm just a normal guy. And the language you're using right now to distance yourself from queer people is the same language that your political compatriots use to distance themselves from you. Maybe not from you specifically, because you look like a good little fucking Uncle Tom for gay people. You look like you're doing a good job. I'm not. I'm gay, but I identify as American. I don't care about this LGBT stuff. I'm just a regular guy. I want to go out and get a brew with my home dogs. You know what I'm saying? That's like, I guess that works. But unless you're grifting, you have to recognize that the language you're using is identical to the language that people would use against you if you weren't doing such a good job cozying up to them. So to anyone who identifies with this rhetoric here, what is even the message being said here? Can somebody explain it to me? He doesn't like these terms because he doesn't identify with them because he's normal and not like those queers, and he doesn't feel there's room for him in the movement because he's a gay conservative. Okay, you can be a gay conservative and still be like LGBT. You can still fit under the purview of these terms. Your conservatism probably does come up at odds against your ability to find camaraderie with other gay folk, though. I can't imagine why.
Pride. Where am I going to go? You know what I mean? I don't have any plans. I'm not going anywhere, but where would I go without, being, kicked out of somewhere, or God forbid you wear one of those red hats somewhere and it's like you're a victim. So I just feel like the whole spectrum just totally has nothing to do with me as an individual.
Well, it does. You fit within the purview of queer, gender and sexual minority, and LGBT. I know, fucking conservatives are so snowflakey. Oh yeah, I know I'm gay. I just don't identify. I just don't think this term that factually describes me in the dictionary describes me. I don't identify by it. Well, I'm sorry, buddy. See, that's the problem with language. It continues on without you. Much in the same way I hear fascists whine, oh, I'm not a fascist, I just support fascist policy, fascist policy, fascist policy. I'm not a Nazi, I just support all the fascist policies. And also the Jews are part of a global capitalist conspiracy to suppress the Aryans using the blah, blah. Like, as much as I hear it from that, I really do think conservatives have a problem processing reality when terms they don't like to be associated with fit onto them. I don't deny that I'm a political extremist, I'm perfectly comfortable with that definition. In fact, there's not a single definition out there which would describe me or my behavior that I would fight against should it be legitimate. Or I would happily argue the point. But he factually fits within the definition of these terms. This is exactly what I meant by people who pretend not to like identity politics, instead invoking identity politics in favor of the hegemonic majority. Because that's exactly what he's doing right now.
I think that it is clear from the people who are here that the LGBTQ community is not a voting monolith. So I would love to know, who here identifies as a Democrat? If you could.
Well, also, this is not an accurate representation of the LGBTQ, whatever, GSM community. Because Vice, tries to bring 50-50 conservatives, liberals, and that is not how they are in real life.
Raise your hand.
Heads up, gypsy is a slur, just a heads up if you were. No, I know gypsy is a slur. But that's the term, gypsy curse. I went in for the bit.
Okay, 2 people. All right, who here identifies as liberal? Okay, a couple more. All right. And who here identifies as Republican? Okay. Who identifies as conservative?
Wait, Blair White doesn't identify as a conservative?
Okay. Folks who are conservative and Republicans, if you don't mind, who did you vote for in the last elections?
I can guess at least 2 of them.
For president.
Trump.
I voted for Donald J. Trump.
Okay.
And I'm going to do it again.
All right.
Donald J. Trump, and he gets.
I'm not like those other queers.
It's my vote again.
All right.
Hillary Clinton. Never again. Trump 2020.
Okay, Lucy?
Mr. Trump.
I did not vote for Trump, and I will not be voting for him again. So I think I may be the only conservative on the panel who is not on the Trump train.
Do you want to tell me why?
I don't think Trump is a conservative. I don't even think he's a Republican. I don't think he's a person with fixed values of any kind. I think he's somebody who stood on the stage with Vladimir Putin and sided with him against our own intelligence community. I think he does not believe in human rights or civil rights. He and I share very few values. And even though I can say, do I support tax cuts or judges or some of the policy areas where I think I would overlap with some of my other Republican friends, this is a values question for me. And this is not an administration that reflects my values.
I'm sorry. Wait. What? Was there an encoding error there? Did I actually just hear the language of a conservative with principles? That's kind of weird. Fuck, I think I have a headache now. I don't know if I can reconcile that internally. Yeah, a plant. This is a deep state agent, folks. Don't trust her.
I totally disagree, but
Yes,
I do
that's
respect
okay.
you
Sure.
and how you feel.
You said you still feel supported by President Trump? That you still...
won't vote for him again, though. I like what he's done, and I agree with a lot of his more financial decisions when it comes to our country. But, I mean, you're exactly right. His executive orders, they're not what we need. I don't believe the government should be so involved in our lives, and I don't think we need to be asking handouts from the government. So I'm going to be looking for someone else for the 2020 elections.
I actually want to ask you guys, how do you feel about the Trump administration when it comes to LGBTQ folks? Do you feel that his policies have either helped or harmed?
Are you ready to be reminded that Trump issued a meaningless statement saying they would fight to decriminalize homosexuality abroad?
The
I'm ready.
LGBTQ community.
I'm ready.
I'd like to take that because I'm going to go back to the Reagan years, and there's a lot of hatred of Ronald Reagan because he never addressed AIDS. That was a big crisis, and it was terrible. I spent, days going to funerals and memorial services. Today, I think Donald Trump is really changing the Republican Party by working with the gay and lesbian community. He wasn't a racist or a homophobe until he ran for president.
People have been calling him a racist and a homophobe for literally the entire time he has been a public figure. There are documents on him from like the 80s, from the Reagan era you just so fondly recalled, in which he was talking about Jews making good accountants and how the 5 fucking black kids who were exonerated, he still wanted them executed. And him talking about how he doesn't want fucking Hispanics in his business because this is not a new development. It just got thrown into sharper focus when he ran for president. The Central Park Five, yeah.
Best friend was Joan Rivers, who was like the patron saint of gays. If there was a homophobic drop of blood in him, we would have heard that 20 years ago.
We did. Wait. Do I joke? Literally, he has a gay friend. No one's ever heard him do anything homophobic. All right. I mean, that's okay. Like, all right. I can't argue with that one. You got it. There are 4 lights.
Back and say he was a racist when Central Park 5 happened.
Nope.
He's been a racist. Central Park 5 happened.
Actually, no. I actually have here the op-ed that Trump put out about Central Park 5. There's nothing here mentioned about racism. If anything, he's talking about having a safe city for black and brown and white people. That's a narrative.
This fucking house Negro brought on paper the fucking ad. Are you kidding me? Just for those of you who don't know, Trump literally called for the execution of 5 black kids who were exonerated. So they were like completely innocent, and then he still wanted them dead. This together with numerous pieces of evidence that have been corroborated from people who have worked with him, from his business, from the people he's worked with, from his managers, from his accountants, his financiers. Wouldn't rent his high-value properties to blacks and Hispanics. I'm gonna fucking kill myself. This fucking guy. Please, God. Jesus Christ. It's a deep state plant, okay? Listen. This is Trump shit rimmer, okay? This is the guy that they bring in after Trump takes a shit. He licks Trump clean. And he has the values and opinions appropriate to a person of that station. Jesus Christ. He brought he's like on this Vice panel about LGBTQ plus issues, he thought at some point somebody might bring up that time that Trump did a really racist thing amidst all the other racist things he did. I'm gonna print out. Wait, LTS, what debate meme? Uh-oh. Oh no, what debate meme? Please no more racism, Daddy Vaush? Nah, fuck off. Yeah, this guy is a Key and Peele sketch character. It's rendering? Wait, LTS, wait, LTS. What do you mean? When you say debate meme coming, what I hear is somebody wants to debate.
I think he made a meme.
Oh, he made a meme. You piece of shit. Getting me fucking hopes up. I thought you got somebody from this panel, like someone in the YouTube chat. Yeah, I fucking...
He's getting pushed and pushed and pushed, and we're going to talk. We got to talk in place of truth.
Also, look at the fucking...
people. That's a narrative keeps getting pushed and pushed and pushed, and we're going to...
Look at the Matrix guy's face. Look at this dude.
We gotta talk.
Actually, look at both of their faces. Look at everyone. Look at this picture perfect scene. I can't. Let's move on.
This man, I did.
You did.
I pulled up receipts. That's what you got to do nowadays. So narrative. So, and if we're gonna talk, let's talk from a place of truth.
Right.
No, it's not. It's receipts on it.
Just
That's
buy
the
it.
thing.
It's not a receipt.
It's a receipt. It's a receipt.
How did he improve
because you people are saying that he's racist.
Wait, what do you mean, you people?
Not a receipt.
It's a receipt. It's a receipt.
How did he improve
because you people are saying.
What do you mean, you people?
That he's
by
racist.
just saying it in the flyer.
People.
That's enough proof for you?
No, you're saying you people are saying that he did this racial thing to Central Park 5. I'm putting out the actual op-ed, which is actually what we're talking about, and there's nothing racial in here.
Well, when a rich white person takes out a article for $500,000 whatever dollars for 5 young black men, young boys, actually, all under the age of 16 and 17, regardless of...
He didn't say in the article that he was racist. He didn't... Guys, look at the advertisement. When he called for the execution of these 5 innocent black boys, he never said the N-word. Look, there's no N-word. I went over it with a highlighter. I highlighted all of the non-N-words.
Regardless if it's racism or not, if they think that they're being racist or not, the perspective is that it's racist.
Victimhood, because that's how the left contains power, but sorry, there's nothing racial there.
Donnie?
Every single time we see one of these Vice videos, we get someone here, a conservative always, with subhumanly low intelligence, who really just goes above and beyond the pale to demonstrate to themselves, to the world, to the audience, to the people there at that panel, to the interviewer, that they are incapable of putting together thoughts. And it's usually a minority, and it really hurts.
Do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, but I also don't feel like it's really my place to speak for this.
Well, I think if...
just going back to the original question, which is, has the Trump administration's policies helped or harmed the LGBTQ community?
Trump does put out a lot of sound.
Also, that's a cuck answer right there. If you're arguing with a racist who's saying racist shit and you're fucking white and they're like 2 black people arguing and one of them's racist, one of them isn't, and you're asked for your opinion, you do not go, oh yeah, I have an opinion, but it's not my place. That's some bitch shit. That's some cuck ass shit. You go in there and you say, hey yo, you fucking racist, kid. And then you dab on him, okay? None of that baby shit.
Sound bites. I mean, that's politics. It's soundbite politics in 2019. But these sound bites actually inform policies, which inform people's day-to-day perceptions and behaviors. And so when the Trump administration, or perhaps just Trump via Twitter, puts out a statement saying that no more trans people are allowed in the military, that's it, we're cutting you off and anybody in's got to leave, that affects the lives of transgender citizens of this country. It makes us appear less than to other people who now can justify their bigotry and their transphobia because look at what the government does. Look at how the government treats transgender people or thinks of transgender people as being less than. If you're so less than that you can't even serve the country that you live in and go and fight and die so that we can continue to have these rights that everybody says that we should have and we should celebrate, then you know, how worthy are you? You're not worthy.
The best argument that you can make, there are a lot of people who are like, hey, the trans ban isn't transphobic. The argument here is that even if you ignore the fact that banning trans people from participating in the military. So here are the arguments, okay? For one, banning trans people from participating in one of the most civically important and socially lauded and largest industries in the country is in and of itself a discrimination, an act of discrimination against trans people. It is by definition transphobic. For two, it was done with no evident reason. The Pentagon had already ruled on trans people years ago and said they are fine to serve in a combat capacity. So it's wrong in that respect. In third respect, even if the Pentagon had ruled that that was not the case, there are still plenty of non-combat military roles. Like 4 out of 5 jobs in the military never see combat. So it's wrong in that respect. Fourth of all, if you actually had any respect for the impact that the trans people have in the military, you would respect the input of the Pentagon, which is the organization most capable of making judgments in this regard. And Trump not doing so with no evident reason, citing evidence that didn't exist and conclusions which ran contrary to those of the Pentagon's, are, in and of themselves, transphobic. But moreover, you can argue that the trans ban in the military is harmful because it will then cause people who already felt weird about trans people to validate a bunch of inaccurate arguments. I can't tell you how many times I've said the trans ban was transphobic, and people have been like, no, it's not transphobic. The military just can't deal with it. They're very emotionally unstable. They cost a lot of money. They're high suicidality. A bunch of arguments which were not supported by the Pentagon. The Pentagon was totally fine having trans service members. They only bring those up as post hoc justifications of the transgender ban. So the argument there is that the trans ban, in addition to all of its immediately harmful effects, will also lead to people who already were transphobic adding on a bunch of post hoc assumptions to justify the trans ban, which I can prove because there are so many people I have argued with who have then done so and thrown out a bunch of feels-based, intuition-driven arguments that were not rooted in the data provided by the Pentagon before the Trump executive action. Tweet. So it's transphobic on like 18 levels, and conservatives prove it is by desperately trying to justify an unjustifiable act.
I think we need to have a more nuanced conversation in our community about military involvement, because I think about the politics of the folks at Stonewall, right? Like, Sylvia Rivera was staunchly anti-war, and I think we need to have a real conversation on how easy it is for us to jump into patriotism and jump into feeding this American imperialist machine so that we can assimilate.
All right, 2020.
Listen, I don't want trans people going into the military either, but they shouldn't be banned from going into the military. Like, I also don't like bars, but I don't want gay people banned from bars. Like, that's not a good argument. That's not a good argument. If trans people don't want to go into the military, it should be of their own volition, not because transphobes are keeping them from going in.
Obviously, President Trump is running again, and there are about 50 billion Democrats running right now. Is anybody exciting you? Are you excited at all about the elections? And is there somebody that's standing out? I know it's early, but does anybody stand out right now?
You know, I'd be happy with anyone.
Anyone?
I'd be happy with anyone who isn't Trump. I'm saying that as a joke. Let me specify. Let me make sure that everybody knows that's a joke before I get attacked. I think that it's really difficult to say.
Say it. I know it's on the fucking tip of your tongue, the edge of your lips. Say it.
This early on, for me, some of my frontrunners, none of them are perfect, of course. Elizabeth Warren, if I had to vote right now, would have my vote. Kamala Harris.
Libcucks! Now we know why they didn't jump in on the fucking racism argument, because it's not their place.
Mayor...
Gotta have a fucking femoid. Even better if she got dark skin. Fuck policies.
Pete's adorable, but
who?
Have my vote. Kamala Harris. Mayor Pete's adorable, but he's not quite adorable enough, you know.
Yeah, my front runner right
now. Libs are gonna be the fucking death of this country.
Now is Senator Elizabeth Warren as well. I appreciate her approach on student loan debt, because I got it.
Right.
But also like her calling...
Who else got that approach?
...calling out the issues that black transgender women are facing right now and not being afraid to say their names really meant a lot to me. So I'm watching her.
All right.
I'm gonna fucking kill myself.
David?
I think it's early. Someone was asking me that the other day.
Everything Warren got, she got from Bernie. Everyone on stage in the fucking debates was trying to copy Bernie in 2016. He shunted the entire platform leftwards.
And I was thinking to myself, there's too many damn people. Like, I want it to be whittled down to like 5 or so, and then we can really go into the nuances. I do think Elizabeth Warren has a lot of pluses. I do hear this whole undercurrent about Joe Biden is going to be the only one who could, beat Trump and all this other stuff. I think Democrats are going to have to get over their issues and their egos, and they're going to have to work together. And I think it involves having like transgenerational and different genders and having other different races, other people like that in a ticket.
This is identity politics. This is exactly what I mean. That's 3 people now who have given answers that have nothing to do with actual policy and everything to do with this liberal veneer of IDPO respectability. I'm gonna fucking kill myself. To anyone who thinks that me rambling about anti-IDPO is excessive and we don't need, this is a real fucking problem. There are unironically millions of Americans whose only arguments for or against presidential candidates are oriented entirely around their gender or the color of their skin. This is so fucking frustrating. They don't give a fuck about the issues, or they think like the issues are, we could have a hellscape America being run by a black woman. Nothing about being black or being a woman or being trans or whatever is going to fix the problems in this country. I don't give a fuck if the person who goes up there and becomes president is the straightest, whitest, most masculine human being to have ever lived. What I care about is their policies. Jesus Christ, liberals. Yeah, they deserve a fucking Biden presidency. These pieces of shit deserve a fucking Biden, then loses to Trump till 2024, and then Ivanka slides in, and then we all drown. That's what we need. That's what they deserve. They aren't the presidents we need, but they sure as fuck are the presidents we deserve. Vaush died of secondhand liberalism. Unironically. Fuck me, I want to die. Oh, it's so frustrating.
Instead of everyone trying to be the head honcho, like realize that probably
if somebody says Bernie and somebody else says, don't think we need another old white man, I'm killing myself live on camera. Stay tuned.
2 of y'all would be better. So I could see a combination of Elizabeth Warren and someone else, or Joe Biden and someone,
Stacey Abrams,
and Stacey Abrams, or someone just younger. Like, it's exhausting. Like, Barack Obama was 47 when he was voted into office. Like, all these, and this is I'm not trying to be ageist or anything, but like when all the candidates are like in their 70s, I'm kind of like, how long are you going to be around? What's going to happen? And seriously, like, we need somebody with a little bit more youthful energy to bring in there. So I think a combination ticket to me would be better. But I do like Elizabeth Warren, just to echo what a lot of other people say.
I have a question that I want to ask.
I'm going to kill myself. I can't believe these fucking people. Literally nobody talked about policy. One guy was like, I like her student debt plan, which she got cribbed from Bernie. All they can talk about is age, skin color, ethnicity, gender. There's no...
Of both Lucy and Sarah. You are the 2 people who lean conservative who've told me that you're not going to vote for Trump this year, in 2020. So what are you going to do?
Find someone else.
Okay, and so far?
I haven't really had anyone coming out. It's really early, too. But I suppose what I would say is I want to define who I would want to run as someone who's going to make sure that they're taking care of America first and trying to figure out our problems here.
Look, I'm not gonna lie, it's really weird seeing like a meek-looking, short-haired Asian lesbian talking about putting America first. This is an intersection I have not encountered this. There are a lot of Asian conservatives, though.
Look, I'm still very hopeful that we get a third party option. I think Justin Amash is thinking about potentially getting in, and there still may be another Republican primary challenger. I think before the end of the summer, we'll know whether or not somebody else is going to get in. I think somebody else should get in. I think someone should make a pitch for a 21st century Republican Party that isn't sort of built around a cult of personality around Donald Trump. There's a lot of people who could do that, young Republican congressmen or other folks. If we don't get that, and I'm forced into a binary choice between Trump and a Democrat, it's going to really depend on the Democrat. I'm never going to vote for Bernie Sanders. There's just no way, and I would probably vote for my
Canceled.
mom.
Write her in.
Yeah, that's right, write her in. But here's the thing. Look, if it's somebody like Joe Biden, look, do I agree with Joe Biden on most issues? I do not.
But he's just shitty enough. He's a bad enough human being that I'd be willing to vote for him.
But I don't think that the world is going to be plunged into a socialist hellscape because of 4 years of Joe Biden. I think you can go back and beat him later with a future leader of the Republican Party who will make a lot more sense to me than Donald Trump.
Mayor Pete has been mentioned.
She seems like somebody who's generally a decent person, but whose brain was steeped in Cold War propaganda as a kid. You know what I mean?
Mayor Pete is gay. He's been on the cover of magazines with his husband. Does having somebody who's gay running right now, does that make you want to vote for him?
Can I do that? Can I start my own? Can I do that? Can I make Vice too? Okay. I know I've already talked about this. Okay. I've already talked about this. But what it'll be is the conservatives. Hold on.
This sucks.
How so?
This just sucks to listen to.
Yeah. Listen, the conservative. The conservative will be right here, okay? And I, as a judge, will be right up here. I'll have like a big seat. And it'll be me up here, and maybe we can have a few other judges, okay? And we'll have the libs and the conservatives debate down here, and we'll have a giant button right up here, okay? It'll be a big red button. And anytime anybody says something stupid,
I literally hate you.
it's deafening. The teeth chatter in their closed mouths. Their ears begin to bleed. And while they're still screaming in pain down there, they can't even hear. It's like they've been flashbanged. While they're still screaming in pain, I explain why they're wrong.
That one deserves a punishment.
What are you doing? I'll splash you with this entire water. I'll get you. I'll get you. Yeah? I'll dunk you. Stop! You're getting your own fucking drawing pad wet.
That's yours, bitch.
Is that mine?
Yeah.
Why is it over there?
I don't know.
I can't believe you're wetting my art. No. Don't do it.
Don't splash the whole water thing on me. Let me get. You hurt my ears so bad.
I'll kill my computer.
Good.
I'll take the whole stream out.
LTS. Here.
Here.
Can I get one good one in?
Yeah, give me a kiss.
No, I want to spray. I want to spray
Not
you.
my glasses.
Not your glasses, but on your shirt.
Fine. This is so stupid. That was my neck. No, you don't get two.
Stop. This isn't fair. Oh.
We obtained the. We've seized the revolutionary tools. All right, what was I doing? Fuck me. What was I doing?